some unity
prayer.
of thought in the town, pride in the town. I
A
love it.
creative caring.
Creative, caring, and vibrant.
Yes.
And vibrant, yes.
Good evening, members of council, staff. I see that we have quorum, and I call this, I don't know if it's regular, but regularly rescheduled meeting of the Town of Pelham Committee of the Whole to order. It has been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley, that the agenda for the, moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Ribbiak, that the agenda for the July 15th, 2013 regular meeting of Committee of the Whole as rescheduled to July 22nd be adopted. Are there any additions, changes to the agenda? There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. The next item is the disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Do any members have any pecuniary interest they need to disclose at this time?
None.
Can that be so noted in the minutes that I have none either? Next, we move to department reports. The first is under corporate services, and the first is the 2013 second quarter capital project update, and it has been moved. Receipt has been moved by Councillor Ribbiak, second by Councillor King, that Committee of the Whole recommended council that the 2013 capital project update report be received for information. Discussion?
There might be,
Maybe.
it's been over a week since we looked at this, so
Yeah.
is this, yes, here it is, it's development.
Councillor Ribbiak.
Yeah, my apologies, Mr. Mayor. I'm just looking to see whether this is the part of the meeting where I want to talk about the redevelopment of downtown Fenwick.
No.
Is it in this
I
report?
would,
or is
I
it-
would
is it a further
suggest
one?
actually that be done in the CAO's report. There are
Do it with
two
him.
Good.
iterations of it.
Yeah.
I think it's in Mr. Mannel's report as well, but I would suggest the CAO's report because the CAO is suggesting a course of action at that point.
Yes, perfect. Thank
Okay,
you, Mr.
thank
Mayor.
you.
I will reserve to then.
Thank you. Others?
Nope.
There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. The next item has been moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Papp, that the Committee of the Whole recommend to Council the 2013 second quarter revenue and expenditure report to be received for information. According to the report, it seems like everything's in line. Any questions, comments? Councillor Kersey?
Just merely clarification on a couple of the notes. They often refer that to some of the expenditures would be made in the second and third quarter, where it actually should be the third and fourth quarter, since it's the second quarter report already. So it's just a correction of the, I don't know whether
Okay.
that's important or not. Just, you know, where you're made the clarification notes, numbers 2, 1, 2, 3, that type of thing.
For you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just clarify.
Yeah, please go ahead.
The
Madam
second quarter
Treasurer.
ends at June 30th, so there's a lot of expenses from June that still haven't come into play. They arrive during the month of July,
Okay.
and then they'll be entered into the system. So for some of them, it is actually the second and third quarters that the biggest impact will be.
Okay.
And then the following.
Provides clarity, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Others? Appreciate that clarity. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. The next item has been moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Papp. The Committee of the Whole recommend to Council that the amount of $170,000 received from the town's equity share in Penn West Power, Inc. be put into the facilities reserve. Questions, comments about that? I'm just going to make a preliminary comment before perhaps we receive comments on our questions. These funds were from the sale, I believe it says in the report, the sale of an asset of a transformation corporation that was owned 50% by Penn West Power, which is the holding company. And you may recall from the council report the distribution of that. So Penn West Power owned 50%. The other 50% was owned by Grimsby Hydro. Grimsby exercised their options in that shareholders agreement and purchased Penn West Power's share for $1 million plus a couple kind of disbursements or whatever to pay for all the fees. So the town's shareholder position in Penn West Power is 17%. Therefore, that's where we get the $170,000. it was quite clear through the last number of years that a transformation corporation, it didn't make any sense to have that outside of a distribution corporation. Rather, as it was set up, it was in a holdco, a holding company. So that's why Grimsby bought it. It's their intention, as we understand it, to bring it into their distribution, and then they can capitalize it, et cetera, within their distribution. So that's what the thing here is. And I think one other important thing to consider is the town is made up of two different hydro companies. The majority of the town, in terms of land mass, is covered by Ontario Hydro. It's the former village of Font Hill that is covered by Niagara Peninsula Energy through Penwest Power, et cetera, et cetera. So I would suggest that when we spend out of this facilities reserve, if that's where it's going to go, that it should be in the distribution area for Niagara Peninsula Energy, because it's those customers that would have years ago got involved in the asset. So that's something to think about and consider. Discussion? Councilor Ribbiak?
Just some clarification on that last point, Mr. Mayor. My understanding is that cash is fungible. When you drop it into a fund, it all looks the same regardless of where it's spent. You can dress it up any way you want, but when you put it in the reserves account, what you spend in one area comes from another. I don't think I understand how you would say that $170,000 in that reserve, which is a townwide reserve, is only going to be spent in a particular area. Once it's in that, in the general fund, isn't it like water?
It is. I guess I was just making the comment, perhaps notionally, we should think about it that way. It's certainly not in the direction of this. Notionally, that's how I'm gonna think about it, so colleagues around the table can think about it that way.
I protest, I'm a Hydro One customer, I want it spent in my area. Doesn't matter.
I'd like to just have it.
Yeah,
Well, it's good to have, isn't it? It's good to have.
never mind.
Mayor, it's
I'll
good to
get
have.
Put it in cash, small
I
bills.
think it's good.
Paper bag.
If I can just complete the thought,
Yeah,
I think it's good that the town of Pelham has it.
Yes.
The town of Pelham has, however it came by this investment, has an excellent investment that's paying an excellent dividend. And I'm not sure that it serves our purposes particularly well to be thinking of, well, this belongs to Font Hill and that belongs to somewhere else. I think we're trying to create a town, and that's the only reason I raised the point. I don't know that it isn't really a great thing that the town of Pelham gets this and has the use of it, and it's going to help us entirely, and it's in the entirety of the town.
Perhaps you want to ask the treasurer how she's going to notionally think about the money, as opposed to the mayor.
Yeah, put her on the spot.
The CAO, what's your thoughts on the matter in terms of
Thank you,
spending
Mr.
area?
Mayor. I think that the background on the issue sheet talks about the reserve which is used for the procurement of building structures. And I think that what the administration is thinking about, or notionally envisioning, is looking ahead to the near future where we've got some property acquisition in downtown that we're going to be having to look at. We know that, for example, that there may be some property come up for sale that the town may be interested in. We also know that we have Peace Park and downtown master plan work that's going to be done that will require some construction dollars. And we also know that there is an interest with regards to punching roads from Pelham Street into the downtown as part of the downtown master plan. So any one of those three projects off the top of my head is we're going to require capital, and this reserve allows for that, but it also allows for projects that are already underway, so the money can be designated and spent in Font Hill, but they're things that are already pre-planned. It's not like we're, going to spend $170,000 just to throw a big party for people of Font Hill. That's not really the
No.
thinking.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Does that make
Sayo.
sense?
Yes, it does to me. I don't know, Councilor Ribbiak, does that make sense?
Well, it does in the sense that fund that pays for those particular projects is a fund that belongs to the town, that covers the town of Pelham. And so if funds have come in that can cover those projects, it just means that there's some flexibility elsewhere because that money is freed up. And that's really all I meant. I'm not sure that the impact isn't going to be felt by the town of Pelham as a whole. My issue is, well, you know, it came into Fonthill, so it's going to be spent in Fonthill. You know, I guess my Fenwick hackles raise a little bit at that. Maybe they shouldn't, but they did.
Fair enough. Thank you. Others? Councillor Kersey?
I would just like to ensure my fellow councillor to smooth his hackles, because the recommendation basically says it's going into
Yeah.
a specific reserve.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
That's all it is.
I'm very happy to
You
do
can
that.
change your mind.
So,
Tell me
are you smooth?
I'll be good in a second.
Good thing there's no cameras on
Have
us
some
here
more
today.
vodka.
This will be on YouTube, so there you go.
Oops, good.
One other quick question, Madam Treasurer, and I'll put you on the spot on this. So the amount in the reserve with this is about 200,000, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. So it's the bulk of that reserve at the moment. Thank you. Any further comments, questions?
The only
Councillor
comment
Kersey?
also, Mr. Mayor, is that this specifically fits into one of the objectives that we set within our strategic plan, and that was to develop some strength in a particular reserve for acquisition of properties and what have you. So I think it's a good step forward for us.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else? There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Carried on here. Is that assumed? Okay, thank you. Sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah.
We have solved them, thank you. The next item has been moved by Councillor Papp, seconded by Councillor Kersey, that the Committee of the Whole receive the June 2013 Corporate Services Report for information. Any comments or questions on Corporate Services Report?
Very
Councillor Papp?
quick question through you to the CEO and treasurer. What's your sense of, because I'm watching this, if someone challenged me about the water and wastewater review, what's your gut feeling of where council or Mr. Mayor, where you think this is going? You got a sort of a sixth sense of what's going to happen here?
Madam Treasurer, you want to start on that?
I'll start.
Belabor, I just was curious because I got asked about this again.
There's no the report, the recommendation is still basically coming forward the same with respect to having a one-tiered
One tier.
system. That was supposed to be presented to council in June, and it was delayed till October, so that there was more time to. September? I'm sorry, it's September. And I'm not sure where it's going to sit at that point in time and what work is currently being done on it. Maybe the mayor can comment.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, Councillor. I don't think that any additional work is being done on it. I think Regional Council said, given it was set to be done in graduation week, et cetera, and just a lot of people couldn't make that particular meeting, so it was deferred until September. I had asked the treasurer to make a presentation to Regional Council with this council's concerns, and she agreed to that, and I would ask her and encourage her to do so in September, again, to represent this council and those concerns. So that will be there, and our concerns will be in the forefront. It's interesting, I'll say this, a similar discussion is going on now about transit and the need for an integrated single regional, whether that's big R or small, or no R, or no capitalization transit. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking for the distinctions and the differences in that, because they're very similar in terms of the wants and needs of municipalities. Municipalities like ours, in terms of the water, wastewater, have done a very good job with our assets and the distribution system, and take good care. Others, as I think was in the paper, for example, a neighboring municipality had a 70-year-old wooden pipe that leaked $500,000 worth of water. So how do you compare the two? So I think it's similar to municipality that doesn't have transit, like Pelham, and a municipality that does have transit, like St. Catharines, and they may have just bought a new bus. So I'm looking for the similarities in the debate that's going forward, and we'll see what they may ask for on the one hand. We might be interested on the other as well. So it'll be an interesting item to see both move forward at the same time. So we'll keep you informed on that. And on that transit issue, I will share with you that information. Nothing was decided, but I think it will be an interesting discussion. I hope that answers your question, Councillor.
Yeah, thanks. I don't want to belabor it, just we take a strong position on what we feel is very adamant to us that could have a very detrimental. I'm not seeing, and I'm usually someone who's much more open to, things that are for good change. And this one, I don't feel comfortable with it, but I behoove it to you and the members of regional council to ensure that, because this wastewater and water issue has been streaming along, forgive the pun, for decades, and just like waste management. So you're right. This is a watershed. Forgive me again. It's a moment where if the
Stop
decision,
forgiving if you try it a third time.
I may go for a third time, but if they go ahead and they move ahead with the one-tier system, I think we're going to be looking at some major challenges here. And that's what concerns me, especially from what I've been briefed on. So thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks, Mr. CEO, Madam Treasurer. Just keep pushing it forward. Show us the proof.
I think the interesting thing with a lot of these will be the triple majority requirement. So
Absolutely.
They may get some of those 50%, but I don't think they'll
I don't
get,
think you get them all.
I don't think they'll get the majority of lower tier municipalities on this particular issue at
Thank
this
you.
particular moment, so. Thank you. Anything else on the treasurer's report?
No.
I just want to offer congratulations to the treasurer and her department for the financial management system, how it's moved along and has really been embraced by staff. Congratulations to you. I know it's something that you continue to inform council about, but that you also actively work on and work together with everybody on it. I know it's been a lot of work as well, just interacting and coming in here, and so congratulations to you and to your team for bringing that into place. Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Kersey?
I had a few questions about the tendered projects as part of corporate services, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Under one specifically for Foss Road water main replacement, it appears that there was nothing in the budget for that. And it will,
Thank you.
which
Madam
comes as
Treasurer?
a surprise.
Sorry, it must have just been missed from the, there would be a budget, there's a capital budget dollar number, or number there. Maybe Al can remember the dollar value for that?
Mr. Mantle? Any?
I can't remember it offhand. I know we were in good shape with those prices that we received, that the tender, we were well under from the tender price to the compared to the budget allocation. And I do remember seeing the budget allocations in the budget book.
Yeah.
They were
and
there.
So it's just
probably was
something
in a
that got
different
missed.
version of this, and
Okay.
the wrong version got uploaded because we had gone through this several times to make sure we
Okay.
met all the
Okay.
projects.
Okay, perhaps, can that be corrected for council?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Kersey, sharp eye, go ahead. There's that fine tooth comb again we were talking about.
Second question, I'm going to be sort of general in my comments because I don't want to specifically identify parties, but I note that when I look at who some of the contracts have been awarded to, they are companies that the town has had other issues with in the past.
Councillor Papp, is that point of order or?
Order? Okay.
I really respect you, Counselor. I know where you're going, and I would ask that
Thank you.
not
Okay.
follow that road
I'll
right
withdraw
now.
that.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
thank you.
It's a legal matter, and
Yeah, no, I withdraw.
okay.
All right, yes, thank
Mayor,
you.
if
So
my colleagues-
sustained. Councillor, anything further on
Okay.
the treasurer's report?
Same question.
Thank you, Councillor.
A question for information, and again, I'm not certain that this is exactly the spot to put it, and if it isn't, then correct me.
Okay.
But with respect to some of those contracts, and particularly those in which there is a requirement to dispose of waste, Are we placing into our contracts a provision with regard to the disposition of waste, in particular, some assurance that in fact our own bylaw recently developed is going to be respected in the disposition of waste from some of these projects?
Mr. Mann?
There is an inclusion for that. There's a comment in the tender documents that specify that they have to get a permit from the bylaw enforcement department.
Thank you. Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Perhaps Mr. Mantle can just expand on that a little bit. Permit to do what specifically?
They have to go through a lot grading process, identify where they're going to put it. There's a form that we've created for bylaw enforcement to hand out, and they'll fill it out as they're supposed to and apply for the permit to dispose of material there.
So for clarification, if somebody proposes in their process for dealing with their contract to dispose of waste somewhere in Pelham, they need to inform, and there needs to be a license, and it is possible, I guess, for the license to be denied?
Yes, that's correct. It's a permit process. It's identified in the tender documents. We've been using it with our the roadside ditching program up till now, and it seems to have worked fine. I haven't received any calls about that. And they go up to the fire hall, they get their permit and fill out the application form, and their disposal process takes place.
And that's for the ditching program this season. Mr. CAO, perhaps you can comment a little further?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to add to that, I just want to clarify, it's not in fact a permit. It's more of a declaration of what the intent is and where it will be placed, so that we know whether or not that would fall in contravention to the bylaw or not, because we were very clear when we passed the bylaw that there would be no permitting and no fees associated with the environmental protection bylaw. So I just want to clarify that, yeah, we do ask people to go, it's simply a declaration. What are you doing with it? Where's it going? And what impacts will it have? And then that helps us use the matrix to determine whether or not that's going to run in contravention with the bylaw, and we can nip it in the bud before it takes place. And it's been working very well.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. CAO. Thank you, Mr. Mantle. Counselor, anything further?
Just a comment that I'm really pleased to hear it, and hopefully it is a process that is working well. I would hope that if there is a request on the part of a contractor to dispose of waste locally, that some thought is given as to the quality of that waste. In a ditching program, obviously, we can be pretty sure, I think we can be pretty sure that it's clean waste that would be going somewhere, but in other projects it might not be, taking down a building, for example. Hopefully that's inside the process, and we're looking for qualified people to make declarations as to the condition of the waste in at times when that's appropriate to do it.
Thank you for raising the issue. Anything further on the treasurer's report? Councillor Kersey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry I forgot to ask this first time around. Under baseball diamond backstop and fence replacement, my understanding was part of that was for MSSP. Now, we're not proceeding with that, I presume, in light of the relocation of Reality Park. Does that create any jeopardy with us? Have we entered into contracts with these folks, and are we in jeopardy at all?
Who gets that question? Mr. Mantle, Ms. Van
I think
Ravensway?
it's okay. We're installing what we can. The fence has gone in at Centennial Park already. Fences, the contractor is very accommodating
I see.
with respect to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Good question. Anything else? There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried.
He's getting your money's worth tonight, or he's getting your money's worth tonight.
Speed us up in about 30 seconds.
Are they almost? What about this one? Yeah. Okay, so next on the